I'm a few years into using the Moasure 1, and I've had the Moasure 2 for about 6 months or so now. So I've really gotten used to it, and now it's to the point where if I leave this at home and I don't have it and I have to go back to a wheel, measuring tape, laser level, any of these things, it just feels wrong. It feels like going to a cafe and the barista doesn't have a septum piercing. It just ain't right. It feels like the 90s. I feel like I don't have all the tools I need. So, hey guys, it's Matt with Sage Landscapes. I'm a landscaper here in Portland, Oregon, and I know that bringing new tools on to your kit can be a little bit daunting, and the Moasure is one that I can confidently say I am super glad I pulled the trigger on, and now I've upgraded to the Moasure 2. So the Moasure 2 seems to be even more responsive with the app, and there's some new features compared to the Moasure 1, is elevations, square foot measurements, volume calculations, which I've really been enjoying. Today I'm gonna put it through some of its paces in our normal settings, like measuring stairs, measuring complex shapes, and getting square footages, and also bring it to a job site and measure a volume measurement for a concrete order. So let's take a look at how I use it right now. Yeah, the Oregon City elevator is a bit of a landmark. I'm a landscape contractor, so I've got the Moasure device on, and I'm gonna put it at the top of the first stair. Then we're gonna put plot points down the stairs. It's green, we're ready to go. So it's motion-based measuring, so when I move, it'll measure. Let's see how tall these stairs are. I've got to stop at intervals so we can get our plot points. Alright, I'm gonna call that the bottom. Man, what a workout. So we traveled McLaughlin Promenade staircase, 250 feet long by 50 feet tall. So then if this was just a hill and you had to calculate your stairs, you would then divide that number by how many steps that you want, so you can get a consistent rise, 6 inches, 7 inches, whatever it happens to be. But that's how you easily measure rise and run with the Moasure device. There's a few other modes you can use. You can trace map, you can do enclosed shapes, so it'll measure your square footages. But that's how we measure our staircases as a landscape contractor in Portland, Oregon. Here we are putting the Moasure 2, the brand new model of the Moasure measuring device, through its paces. I drew out a super random shape here in the gravel driveway, and we just had a competition between the Moasure and the tape measure, and the results were pretty surprising. We got pretty close. ¿Qué era la medida que agarraste tú con la metro?
319.5.
So I was with the Moasure 318.5, so it was 1 foot off with the tape measure. ¿Y cuánto tardó para sacar las medidas?
Es como chance 5 o 10 minutos, tal vez, o menos.
So between 5 or 10 minutes with a tape measure, but that's 2 people, so that's realistically 10 to 20 man minutes to grab the shape, and then the accuracy was a little bit lower. But obviously they're having to hand do the math, the tape measure side, to figure out the square footages. But like if you wanted to buy snap edge or an edge restraint for this patio, you'd have to know the linear footage of the perimeter as well as the square footage. So basically in less time we're getting more information, plus we're getting our altitude measurements of the terrain, so we know how much slope there is existing, so you can really plan your excavation. So I think the money savings isn't in the time you save using the device, it's about the accuracy of the bid that you're going to be able to give, knowing the exact quantities of backfill and excavation that you're going to need to do on your project. So what this device is, it's motion-based measuring, and what I like about it is it's really small. It pairs with your phone. I know sometimes as contractors, you get a tool and you need a generator to power that tool, then you need a trailer to haul the new generator and tool, and a lot of these things can be big, bulky, and complex. This is just super small, so when I get to an estimate, I pull this out, I'll get a lay of the land, I'll map kind of the door thresholds, so I have a reference point for the elevations of like a patio that we're building or a wall. I'm here on a job site. I'm using my secret weapon, the Moasure 2 Pro, being really useful for estimates because you can measure lengths, heights, square footages all on the app. On a job site too, we're doing a resin bound gravel and I want to know the volume of this whole area, and I can easily do that with the Moasure too. 3D elevations and square footages of this small patch of gravel that we're going to resin bind. So we've got a total square footage of 56.7, but the cool thing you can do is come in right here and get volume measurements. So if we went up 6 inches, that would be half a foot, and then you can see up here where you could just type it in. If you type in 0.5, then it'll give you the total volume that you'd need to fill up that area. Yeah, like you'll see on the stair measuring the slope of a hill, so I can do calculations about getting an appropriate step size for some of our projects. Recently with the Moasure 2 is bringing it to our job sites as well. Previously I'd only use it on estimates, but now once we're finished with our excavation, I'll measure again for our depth of gravel so I know the exact quantity that we need to order in for deliveries and help our efficiencies in that way. So make sure to bring this with me on all the estimates and to our job sites as well. I found for job costing too, I can take a measurement after we've done some work, get a real evaluation of how much material we're using, so I can reference that to our estimated materials number. So using this on the estimate, you get a super accurate estimate for the excavation and your fill. There's even a way where you can level out sites and get volume measurements that way on the app. But yeah, those are just some of the ways that I use the Moasure 2. All right, everybody, thanks for making it to the end of the video on my Moasure measuring tool review. There's a lot to cover with this, and I didn't go through every single way that you can use the app or use the device. So if you have questions, leave them in the comments and I will get back to you. And otherwise, I'll see you on the next video.